The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Luke.
Glory be to you, O Lord.
That very same day, two of them were on their way to a village called Emmaus, 7 miles from Jerusalem, and they were talking together about all that had happened. Now, as they talked this over, Jesus himself came up and walked by their side, but something prevented them from recognizing him. He said to them, "What matters are you discussing as you walk along?" They stopped short, their faces downcast. Then one of them, called Cleopas, answered him, "You must be the only person staying in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have been happening there these last few days." Jesus asked, "What things?" They answered, "All about Jesus of Nazareth, who proved he was a great prophet by the things that he said and did in the sight of God and of the whole of people." When they drew near to the village to which they were going, he made as if to go on, but they pressed him to stay with him. They said, "It is nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. Now, while he was with them at table, he took the bread and said the blessing. Then he broke it and handed it to them. And their eyes were opened and they recognized him, but he had vanished from their sight. Then they said to each other, "Did not our hearts burn within us as he talked to us on the road and explained the scriptures to us?" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear friends, this is a little story of a little boy, a small 10-year-old boy. His name was Carl. Carl was at the batting crease. It was the last over of the game, 6 balls, 6 runs to win. And small Carl with his bat there. First ball, Carl misses. Second ball, Carl misses. Third ball, Carl misses. It goes on. It's the last ball. 1-6. And it would all happen. Everybody is cheering. His parents are cheering. His teammates are cheering. Everybody is cheering. Come on, Carl. Come on, Carl. The last ball is bowled. Carl swings. And to the horror of everybody over there, Carl misses. And Carl is there now on the ground, crying. He's in bad shape. At that particular moment, suddenly Carl hears a voice, the voice of his father. And his father shouts at him, "Come on, Carl, pick up the bat. I am bowling to you." Suddenly Carl hears his mother's voice. His mother says, "Come on, Carl, I am fielding." His grandfather and some other cousins chip in and say, "We too are fielding, come on." And once again, Carl picks up that bat. He's ready to go. The first ball. Once again, Carl misses. It continues. Carl is now again on the verge of tears. The last ball has reached. And Carl this time on the last ball swings. And suddenly he manages to connect. It's not a very hard connection. But somehow Carl sees his dad missing the catch. The ball goes forward. Carl begins to run. He sees his mother misfielding. Carl takes the second run. Suddenly he sees his mother throwing the ball. And then he watches his grandfather missing the ball totally. And the ball running off to the boundary. Carl got 6 runs. In that particular moment, Carl suddenly felt different. He moved from zero to hero. For a few moments, somebody who was crying bitter tears suddenly began to smile and began to laugh. And somebody nearby remarked loudly, "Here is an example of a conspiracy of love. Here is an example of a conspiracy of grace." My dear friends, the sacraments that we receive are conspiracies of love, are conspiracies of grace. How do we define a sacrament? A sacrament is defined in one sense as an external sign of an inward grace. And what is this grace? Is grace a blessing? Is it something that we are receiving? Because the way we act, it is like that. When we go for a sacrament, largely we are busy with the ritual. Very often, even as we were celebrating the Eucharist, most of our attention sometimes should be on that candle, whether it is lit or not lit. We move. If we are talking about grace, and we are saying grace is something much more than something. Grace is a person. The sacrament is a gift of a person to each one of us. And that person, a living person, is Jesus. In each sacrament, we are receiving Jesus. You look at the sacrament of baptism. The baptism, there we find Jesus inviting us. He's inviting us, "Come, you are now taking my name." We have Jesus inviting us, telling us, "Come, share new life with me." When we receive our Holy Communion, when we celebrate the Eucharist, we have Jesus telling each one of us, "Listen to my word. Receive my body. Take my blood." That's Jesus' invitation for us. If we look at the sacrament of confirmation, the sacrament of confirmation is Jesus sending us His Spirit, the Spirit who blesses us with different gifts. If you look at the sacrament of matrimony, it is a celebration of love. Jesus bringing two people together in the sacrament of marriage. Jesus giving two people to fulfill that sacrament of love. If you look at the sacrament of holy orders, it is Jesus calling young men to say yes to Him, calling him to follow Him more closely. The sacrament which we all fear or perhaps embarrassed about, the sacrament of reconciliation. Many a times what we are worried about, how to say. But this sacrament again is Jesus telling us, "You are mine. I love you. I am ready to forgive you." This is again Jesus' words to us. The sacrament of anointing. This is a sacrament of even greater fear because people think, story khatam. The sacrament of anointing again is Jesus telling us, "Remember, I am the way, the truth, and the life." It is Jesus' invitation to us in our pain, in our struggle. I am there for you. Jesus telling us, "Come, I will take you forward." My dear friends, each and every sacrament, like our gospel reading today, reminds us, if we are fully participating in it, there is that assurance that our hearts will burn. Burn because we understand this is what God is doing for us. Let's take a moment, my dear friends. You have come, you have traveled, you have taken the pains to come over here. Once again, open your hearts to this Jesus. What's he telling you right now? What's his message for you?